This man is drunk. Wait, am I drunk? I'm nobody. Yes, you do have a problem. God's got this. No, I got this. You're stupid. You're dumb. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I'm a leader. I am Marcus J. Scott. I'm Marcus J. Scott, author of The Drunken Preacher, here to encourage critical thinking, social awareness, advocate growth, resilience, provide hope, and help you find faith. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to the podcast, The Drunken Preacher. The Drunken Preacher, man, I tell you, I'm so excited. I got a lot of positive feedback on the pilot, got a lot of positive feedback on the pilot. And so thank you for joining us on the Drunken Preacher podcast. You know, I realized as I had went back and I started listening to the podcast, I said I was going to tell you a little bit about, the short version of my struggles and stuff. And then I kind of got off into how writing the book and how I went backwards and the length of time it took me. And that was just, one trial, one adversity. But I hope you got something from that. But again, I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about my story, the drunken preacher. And, most of the people who know me, they know that, my dad is a preacher. He's a preacher, a bishop. He's also a politician. Not only is he a preacher, not only is he a politician, but I tell people I was also a military police officer. And so the things I found myself getting into that what I thought at the time negatively impacted me, I should have known better, right? So with that being said, I had a good upbringing. I had a mother and a father, a household where you have two parents in the house, and I was raised in the church, and you would think that somebody like myself wouldn't have struggles or wouldn't get into issues or mischief or have trouble during their teenage years or even their adult years. But here I was finding myself in, and I talk about this in the book, in the jail cell on a DUI charge, wondering how in the world did I get here, right? How in the world did I get here? But I begin to think back, going back into my high school years. And again, this is in the book. And if you have not gotten the book yet, go to marcusjscott.com, marcusjscott.com. And there's a section where you can click on the book and order the book, either ebook or the paperback, the hard copy. But find myself in high school because things didn't go my way. I find myself rebelling against my father. I find myself doing the opposite of what he was trying to tell me and guide me to do. And yet I struggled with going down this path of his guidance. And so last episode I talked about, or the pilot episode, I talked about asking for help and asking for guidance. And the thing is, when you ask for it, you got to be willing to listen to it, right? You have to be willing to listen to it. And so one of the people I listen to is Myron Goldman, and he was saying, he doesn't when he tries to coach people or talk to people and tell people, when they try to override what he's trying to tell them to do, he doesn't argue with them in it because they don't want to listen or take the advice of what he's trying to give them. They think they don't need it, or they think that they know more than he does. And he said something that I thought was very interesting. He said he doesn't argue with people who try to be right. He say, okay, I'll be rich, you be right. I thought that was so fascinating because, oftentimes we're going back and forth with people who are trying to tell us something, and they want to be so right that they're not even listening or taking in the information that they're trying to provide us. And yet we want to be so right or give an excuse every time we hear something. And so here it is. My dad was trying to give me the right advice, trying to guide me down the right path, and I didn't want to listen. for whatever the reasons were. Sometimes it was just, I think I knew better. Sometimes it was, oh, he's old. This is a new age. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Other times it was just true rebellion because he didn't allow me to do something that I wanted to do. And so therefore I wasn't going to listen to anything he says. So I want to pause right here and ask, how many of you in a space of life or between you and God wants you to do something you think you know best and you try to do it your way? Or God allows something to happen that's so bad or negative, then you reject God and you totally go the opposite way. Mm. See, a lot of times we try to put it in context of, the parent. The parent knows best, and I don't know why they not listening to their parents. We look at other people like that. I don't know why they not listening to the boss on their job. I don't know why they not listening to the coach. I don't know why they not listening to their parents. I don't know why they're not listening to the person that's trying to guide them. And yet we find ourselves sometimes doing the same thing as it relates to God, as it relates to what we're supposed to be doing in life. And God's trying to take us down the path, and we're steadily not listening for whatever the reasons are, right? We're not listening because we tried it the way God said to do it for one day. Something bad happened. Somebody passed in our family. We got sick. We lost some money. Something happened, and we were like, well, God allowed this to happen. I can't believe it. Forget it. I'm going to try to do it my own way. And yet, when I talk about faith, I say follow all instructions. That means continue to follow his instructions. And sometimes we put the instructions down when it's not working our way in the first day or the second day. And I talked about this on the pilot podcast, or if it seems like we're going backwards. I gave the example of writing the book, right? So here it is. I'm writing this book. And it's taken me 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And most people would be like, there's no way. Maybe it's just not meant for me. Maybe I'm not supposed to do it. Maybe, just maybe, I'm supposed to be doing something else. And we get stuck in our feelings. We get stuck in our emotions. We get stuck with looking at the negative and not seeing the positive, or not continuing to trust God, or not continuing to press forward when we are on the path of doing what we're supposed to do, but because we're not seeing the results right away. Inky Johnson says this, and I say this quite often: trust the process without getting emotionally attached to the outcome. Mm. How about that? Trust the process without getting emotionally attached to the outcome. Most of us, because it doesn't happen in the time frame we want. If it doesn't happen in the time frame that we say or think, if it doesn't happen in a day, in a week, in a month, in the year that we said it's supposed to happen, then we shut it all down. We get upset. We get angry. We get upset with God. We get angry with our peers, ourselves, our coaches, or whomever, because it didn't happen in the time frame you said it should happen. Because it didn't happen the way you said it should happen. And so I find myself, here it is, because my dad, what it was at the time was sports. He didn't allow me to play a particular sport. And so I rebelled, went the total opposite way. And that cost me some negative consequences. It cost me not almost being able to finish high school on time. In fact, truth be told, I really didn't finish high school on time. Back in the day, they used to allow you to walk even though you didn't have all your credits. And so I got to walk with my classmate, but I didn't have my diploma at the time. Everybody else got their diploma after the graduation. I didn't get mine at that right after the graduation. I had to go to summer school and summer night school after my senior year. Why? Because I rebelled. Because I didn't do the stuff he was trying to guide me to do. Because I didn't do the things that he was trying to tell me to do. And so I suffered the consequences of not officially finishing high school on time. A lot of times we don't finish or complete or do the things that we need to do on time because we're not listening to the instructions, all of them, or we're quitting before we get there, or we're being rebellious towards God and towards life and towards our peers, towards our job, towards whatever it is we're being rebellious against. And so it's taking us longer to complete what we're supposed to complete. It's taking us longer to get to where we're trying to get to. It's taking us longer to get to that place that we're trying to be. And so I ask you today, are you being rebellious or defiant or not listening because it's not going your way? Are you not trusting the process without being emotionally attached to the outcome? You don't see it happening in the time frame you thought it should happen, so you switch up, you change up. That's why you had 10 different jobs, because you thought you were going to get the raises by a certain time, and it didn't happen in your time frame. Were you listening? Were you doing everything the boss wanted you to do? Or were you coming in late every day? Were you doing half the work you were supposed to do? You thought you was going to get the starting position on the football team or the baseball team or the basketball team, but you not working hard like the coach asked you to. You thought just off this pure talent, you was going to start. You thought just because you were gifted in that area, they were going to pick you over the other person, but you're not doing all the stuff that it takes. You're not being there before everybody else. You're not leaving after everybody else. You're not showing the leadership in the dark. You just want to come on game day and play. You want to show up late to work every day. You want to do half the job, but you want the raises and bonuses. You want the promotion. I'm talking to somebody today. You got to get it together and stop being rebellious. Start doing what you're supposed to do every day, consistently. And maybe you can continue to move forward. Stop being emotionally attached to the outcome. Just do what you're supposed to do. I said ask for help. I said ask for guidance. But now we have to listen and actually do what the guidance is telling us to do, what the coach is telling us to do, what the boss is telling us to do. And most importantly, for most of us, if not all of us, doing what God would have us to do. Listen, I love the story of Abraham, many nations, but he tried to jump ahead of God because it didn't happen in the time frame he thought it should have happened. He thought it should have happened by a certain time frame, and he tried to jump ahead of God. And so therefore, he ended up with some consequences that didn't have to be, because he did jump ahead of God. How many of you are jumping ahead because it didn't happen in your time frame? You didn't want to listen and just stay on the path. So while you may have asked for the help, while you may have asked for the guidance, you jumped ahead, got off course, and maybe that's why it's not happening the way you thought it should. All right, that's our time for today. Remember, continue to subscribe, like, and share us. Marcus J. Scott 4040, Marcus J. Scott 4040. I'm enjoying this. We're getting ready to start having some guests on here. So we got about 15 to 18 guests lined up. So continue to stay tuned. We'll be dropping these every Monday. I appreciate each and every one of you, all of your support as we continue with the Drunken Preacher, the Struggle Within, the Drunken Preacher Podcast. Man, I'm excited about what's coming up. So continue to stay tuned. And remember, always have a heart of gratitude and the strength to keep moving forward. God bless you.